Thank you. So thank you, Paulina, for the introduction. I also want to thank Josephine Sullivan for inviting me today. She's really the reason why I'm here today. And I'm really excited to be here at Digitalize in Stockholm. As Paulina said, I'm going to tell you a bit about the journey that we had at Synthesia. And I'm going to intertwine two different aspects of this journey. So on the one hand, I'm going to tell you about the journey from the point of view of the company. So how did we go from the beginning, where our technology was quite based on our AI research at the time, and our first product was AI dubbing. How did we go from that to building and launching the first text-to-video platform for AI avatars? And how did we get to today, when we have a company with 400 people that was valued at $1 billion just last year? And at the same time, I'm also going to tell you about the evolution of our AI avatar technology. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the research and really how we went from having avatars that maybe were a little bit more robotic, less expressive, to make them more and more expressive, to look like humans, to sound like humans, and to move and behave like humans. So this is, really what our technology is all about. But the first thing, I don't know why. Okay, that should have been playing from the beginning. Okay, but the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to let now Julia introduce herself.
Hi everyone, I'm Julia. I'm really excited to be with you in Stockholm today. I am one of over 160 AI avatars available in Synthesia. With our platform, you can create professional-looking videos like this one just by typing text, without the use of cameras or studios. More than 50,000 companies use our technology to create videos for training, onboarding, and corporate communications. Lourdes is going to tell you about our journey towards making engaging AI avatars like me. Over to you, Lourdes.
Okay, thanks. So you've now seen what the technology looks like and what the avatars look like. So I want to tell you a little bit about the premise. So how did this all start? What was our motivation? And our motivation really was a very simple observation, which was that we were moving towards a video-first world. So we kind of realized that most people want to watch video rather than read text. People were starting to engage with video and learn from video in a better way, in a quicker way. But what we noticed was that this wasn't actually getting into businesses themselves. So businesses were still internally communicating via text. So they were still in a text-first world. So for instance, if you're onboarding a new employee, you would give them a PDF so that they would read all the information. And instead, we really realized that people would prefer to be looking at a video and learning in that information from video only. So this was our premise. So what we wanted to do was to bring video creation to businesses so that they were able to communicate information in video format, and to do that at scale. But now if you take a step back and you look at how we actually traditionally create video, this is an incredibly complex and also a very expensive process. So if you want to produce a beautiful video, and many of you will come from businesses and companies where you have to create a promo or some kind of video, you know that you have to have professionals and you have to have equipment. So you need to hire a studio, you need to hire the cameras, you need to direct the performances, you need to write the scripts. This is incredibly costly. It takes an enormous amount of time, and in the end, you produce a video after also some post-production, and that's like a linear piece of content, of material that you maybe planned months before. If you need to make any edits, forget about it. You've got to go back and start from the beginning, right? So this is what we noticed, and what we realized was that video production was a very physical process. So it's very, very physical, and we wanted to have a very low entry bar to creation of a video. So what we wanted to do was to break this physical barrier and allow anyone to create video from a laptop or from a browser. That was the motivation, and that was what we set out to do. And this is what the platform looks like today. So our mission was to enable anybody to create video just from a browser, from a computer, and this is what our studio kind of looks like today. So this is Synthesia Studio. This is the platform, and we think about it as a video production studio in a browser. Okay, so now you can see that the entry level is incredibly low. So the only thing that you have to do here is you can go and you can choose your avatar, you can choose the actor that you want to be presenting your content, and then you write the text, and you can generate the video just from text, just from typing text. And text is something that we're all used to. And something that we're all used to as well is creating slides, so using slide decks. This is something that's very, very simple for us to use because we do it every day. So we think a lot about simplicity and simplifying processes. So, when we thought about the studio platform and what it would look like, we thought, it has to be something that has a very, very low entry level, and people can engage with and jump on board and make their videos very, very quickly. And here the central element is the avatar, really. So the avatar, we want this avatar to be engaging. We want this avatar to be expressing emotions, to maybe reflect what's been said in the text, and to deliver some kind of performance. That's what we really want this avatar to be doing. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the history of how this all sort of happened and how it came together. So we're going to go back to 2017. So 2017 was when we founded the company in London. And these are the 4 co-founders. So 2 of the co-founders, Victor and Stefan. Victor is the CEO, Stefan is the CFO. They're both Danish, and they already knew each other. They had been working in the startup scene in Denmark, in Copenhagen. But then they moved to London. They both have a background in computer science, but also in entrepreneurship, and they really had that skill already. And then on the other hand, there's Matthias Niesner and myself. We're both professors. Matthias is at TU Munich. I'm at UCL in London. And our role in the company is really as scientific advisors. And we've been sort of guiding the technology from the beginning. So what brought us together? So what really brought us together was this shared vision that this idea of being able to enable anyone to generate video without cameras, microphones, or studios, it would be revolutionary. And that it could be a really powerful tool for creators, but also for businesses. And this is really what we all had a massive passion about, just making this possible. And the other thing that we realized was that we'd seen glimpses that this technology it was actually possible to create this technology. And this was really because Matthias and myself, we'd already been working in this space of digital humans and 3D reconstruction of non-rigid objects from video. And we could see that this was starting to be possible, albeit in the research domain. And as I said before, Victor and Stefan had a very long-term vision for the company. They really wanted to build a company that would grow and that would really, deliver a product that our customers wanted to use. So really looking back on this Synthesia founding team, something that I find very interesting is that maybe something that was different about us was that there was a big diversity there. We kind of complemented each other very well. So let's see, what was the starting point in terms of the underlying research and the underlying technology that enabled us to start the company? So I'm taking a step even further back. So this is a paper from my research group. So this is a paper that was published in 2015 in ICCV, one of the main computer vision conferences. And what we were doing here was taking a single video as input and reconstructing a dense 3D model of that object as it was deforming. So this really was essential technology to create the avatars, to be able to create the avatars that we would then enact. We needed to be able to reconstruct them in 3D, and we needed to be able to do this just purely from video. And this paper was really, it was very pioneering because we were really the first ones to be able to do this deformable reconstruction just from a single video stream. So then in 2016, there's this other paper. This one came from Matthias's group. So they went a step further, or maybe a few steps further, in their face-to-face paper. So maybe this is a paper that a lot of people saw at the time. So here they did a few different things. So one is that this reconstruction model, so now instead of reconstructing a single person, they're reconstructing two people, and they were fitting a parametric model. You can see the model just there, that sort of silver surface that you see there. So this is now a parametric face model. It's specialized to reconstruct only faces. So those parameters would be the geometry of the face, the facial expression, the texture, what does the person look like, etc. And the other thing that they did was then they would be able to track these two people in real time, and they would be able to then transfer the expressions from one target to, from the source to the target video. And then render new video where the target video had the facial expression of the driving video of the original video. Okay, so I'm going to show you this in action. This is an example of this happening. So here we can see the reconstruction of the source and the target. And on the right, you can see the reenactment. And you can see that now we're producing a new video where the motion of the lips is being driven by the source video. And one other thing that's happening is that the inside of the mouth, which is not modeled by that geometric face model, is being filled in. So in this case, it was quite a crude way of filling in using nearest neighbors. There wasn't really much machine learning in there. But this was a really good start for us for the beginning of the company. So this is what the state of the art was at the beginning of our journey. And so in 2018, so this was our initial team, and that's when we started development. So we call this the wilderness era, and we call it that because there were ideas for video generation, but they were in the research community, really, and in the papers that I showed you before. But nothing was at production quality, and definitely nothing was ready for business use. So what we did here was, with this fairly small team already in London, we wanted to push to build this capability. And given the current quality, what we were always doing is, given the current quality, how can we exploit the commercial value of what really worked at the time? Okay, so this is what the technology actually looked like. So we were enormously inspired by this geometric facial expression transfer of the paper I showed you before, face-to-face. So we adopted a similar approach. So we had an underlying blend shape model. You can see there the parametric 3D face model. that we were animating with the source video. So the expression parameters were being predicted from the source video, and we were animating, let's call it the 3D avatar, with those parameters. And what we were doing in that case was that we were really replaying the original target video, but we were changing the mouth area. That was the area that we were changing. And because we weren't modeling the inside of the mouth, we needed to use generative approaches. So this was 2018. It was when GANs, generative adversarial networks, came out. And that's what we used. So we used GANs to fill in, to re-edit the mouth, and also GANs to refine the rest of the face. So this is really how the technology worked at the time. But only the face was edited. This is kind of important. So the original video was replayed, but now only the lips and the mouth and the face. That was effectively the only thing that was being edited. So really, what that gave us, the capability that we created, was video replayed with a face that was edited with GANs for lip sync. And what this allowed us to do was to add value to existing video. So if there was an existing video, what we saw as commercial value was to do native dubbing. So to be able to dub that video into different languages. So for instance, we did this campaign in 2019 where we were able to make David Beckham speak 9 different languages for a campaign to eradicate malaria. And I'd like you to watch the video next.
The new campaign is calling on the world to take action to end malaria.
Malaria isn't just any disease. It's the deadliest disease there's ever been.
Se dice que ha matado más de la mitad de la población que ha existido.
بليون من 500 مريض
وما زالت تقتل طفلا كل دقيقتين.
Mais nous pouvons y mettre fin. Nous savons comment, nous en avons la possibilité.
हमें और अधिक कार्रवाई की जरूरत है.
我们需要让世界领导人关注。
Hivyo tunazindua kampeni ya sauti.
Ohwele bawari upin malaria.
Speak up and say, malaria must die. One voice can be powerful, but all of our voices together, then they will have to listen. Malaria must die, so millions can live.
So this was an incredible project that we were involved in 2019. It was at the beginning of 2019. I mean, it's 5 years ago, or 5.5 years ago. It's a very long time ago. And, you know, it really made us believe that we could do this, you know, that we could, first of all, that we could use AI for good, that we could find ways in which we could use this technology that were positive for society. But the other thing that we realized at the same time was that, you know, to make that video, I mean, it took us weeks to actually make just that single video. We also had to film each one of the actors speaking in the different languages because we needed to have those source actors. We needed to have their video performance. So, you know, a bit like this, we wanted this woman to speak different languages, to be able to work on this AI dubbing, we needed to have, first of all, the actors who could speak that language so that we could transfer the motion. So this is video-to-video technology. This really wasn't scalable. Every project that we did, it would take months to sign the project. It would take weeks for us to generate the videos. It really wasn't scalable at all. And we hadn't really broken this barrier of video creation, right? So what we had done is add some value, some small value maybe, to some existing videos, but we weren't enabling anybody to create new video. So we kind of commercially, we continued to do this throughout 2019. This is what we did. We had a few different projects with the BBC, with companies like Accenture and WPP. But you know, what we really wanted to do, as I said before, was to have a much lower entry barrier to creating video. So this was really the turning point. This is when we thought, well, instead of doing video to video, what we should be doing here is text to video. So during 2020, that's the time that we sort of doubled down on generating, being able to generate video directly from text. And I'll explain a little bit just how this works. So what we're doing now is we have text and we have a TTS model. This was an off-the-shelf text-to-speech model to generate the audio. And that audio will have some features that you see up there. And those features were the input to our animation engine. And our animation engine really was going to predict the motion of the lips given the voice as input and those voice features as input. So that's how we were going to drive our 3D avatar, our 3D model. And then the other thing that we had to do as well was that before we were overwriting some existing video, now what we did was create some stock avatars. So you can see some of the stock avatars there at the top. And those were actors who were coming into our studio, and we would film them for some time, and then we would create effectively the 3D avatars for each of those actors. So that would involve estimating the geometry and the texture. So the lip motion parameters, as I said before, were predicted, but then there was a bit more that we weren't doing in a generative way. So the lip motion parameters were generated by the audio, but the rest of the head motion and the facial expressions and the hair and the clothes, that was still replay. We were still replaying snippets of the training videos. So we had a clever way of splicing the training video into useful snippets, but effectively we were looping. So the dynamics were, a little bit awkward maybe at times, because we were effectively just kind of replaying the video. So you're going to see now what the technology looked like.
Hi there. Nice to meet you all. I am a version 3 avatar. My lip motion is generated, but the rest is copied from recorded footage. Yet, I look good, don't I?
Okay, so, I mean, to be fair, she does look fairly good. That's what I thought at the time. She looked good for 2020, and definitely good enough. Good enough for us to launch our first platform. And really, this was, as I said, this was really the turning point for us. This is where we became a SaaS company. So we had a self-serve platform. Anyone could come on the platform and make their videos. And now, we didn't have to have any contracts with different companies that we worked with. People would just pay with their credit cards. It was really amazing for us. It was a real turning point. And our market became the learning and development and training teams inside big companies who are now able to turn boring texts into, boring PDFs into videos. And yes, perhaps the avatars were not very engaging yet, but they were much better than having to read a PDF. So that was really the kind of moment for us that we realized what we're offering is better than what was there before. So we can't do Hollywood movies yet with these avatars, but we can actually substitute text, which is, that was a really important thing. So then we brought in also a product team. So the product team, so here we are this was our first offsite that we did in 2021 in Lisbon. At that point, the company was about 50 people. And really, that's when we hit product market fit. So now we didn't just have an R&D team, we also had a product team that were really working on making this platform more and more usable for our customers. And we raised Series A in 2021. And maybe, I won't explain much more about this, but yeah, so with this focus that we had on the teaching and learning and training and learning and onboarding, so what we could do was establish ourselves as the leaders in this space, and then refine the product and lay the foundation for a future expansion into other markets, like advertising or something like that. So following this incredible growth, in 2023, we reached unicorn status. So there's the photo of us very happy about that. We were just one of 7 companies in Europe to reach unicorn status last year, which is quite a sobering fact, really. And 50,000 companies were using our technology, including now it's sort of 80% of Fortune 100 companies who are using our technology. So clearly, we were starting to revolutionize the way businesses use video to communicate and to share knowledge. But if you remember the avatar that I showed you before, the avatars were still, we were not happy. They were still a bit robotic. They weren't very expressive. So we were really on this mission of making them more and more expressive. So we decided to use a large part of the investment that we had as part of our Series C to propel our AI research. And we expanded the R&D team. We were also doing pure research that we've been publishing in conferences. If I had more time, I would have told you about that, but sadly I don't. So I'm going to tell you a bit more about where we are right now. So this avatar is similar to the one you saw in the very first slide. So now what you're seeing here is fully generative. So now we're not replaying anything. Everything is generated, and we're using diffusion models now. And the nice thing about diffusion models is that they have a capability to model multimodal complex distributions. And the dynamics of humans in speech are incredibly complex, and that's why we need a much more powerful model. So we've moved away from domain knowledge. That was what we were getting with this avatar that was just a 3D parametric model, a 3D morphable model. That was very domain specific, and it didn't really capture all the nuances of how people move. Now we've gone into fully diffusion models. They're fully generative, and now we can learn how to be a presenter. So what we're doing is we're learning over thousands of videos from thousands of actors. What is the motion that makes you a good presenter? And we're predicting everything also from audio. And the nice thing is that the other thing we have is there's also a large language model. So basically now the avatars, they have some context in terms of the semantics of what's being said. So now they can move according to what they're actually saying. So I'll let this play now.
Hello everyone. I'm very happy to showcase the new features and improvements from the R&D teams for the Epic Synthesia Expressive AI Avatars release. Now, focus on my lips. They're snappier and align more precisely with each word I say to you. And my voice, do you hear the difference? I sound more like an engaged and energetic presenter. A noticeable shift from the typical toned down style, right? This is just a glimpse of the advancements we're bringing to the world. We're dedicated to enhancing every aspect of our technology to provide customers with an experience that's not just innovative, but also truly captivating. Get ready for a future where every video produced in the studio feels more alive and vibrant than ever before.
So of course, so you've noticed that not only the video's been generated, but the voice is also more expressive. So I need to finish now. So I'm just going to show you one more video. So this is now everybody's heard about Gen AI. And so we're starting to move towards fully generative performance, and fully generative performance where we're now also thinking about the whole body. So not just shoulders up, but also animating the whole body. And you can see here, we're now training larger models that are trained on many, many different actors. And with just maybe 5 minutes of this actor that you see here, we can make her do motions that she never did during the shoot that we had, the original video. So these are motions that maybe are in our training on some other avatar, some other person, and we're able to compose them onto the new avatar. So I think I need to finish. So that will be the end of the presentation. Thank you. I couldn't see that.
No worries.
I was looking there.
Yeah, don't worry. This is so amazing, and the fact that it's so interesting that you talk about sort of 5 years as long time ago, and in 2020 as long ago. It says everything about how quickly everything develops within this field.
Yes.
So we have to let the panel enter the stage, but there are so many questions, obviously, about sort of the possibility of misusing, using these type of deep fakes for other purposes than for good purposes or allowed purposes. So what are your one sentence quick take on that complex question?
We take ethics incredibly seriously from day one at the company. So we have 3 different things. So we have consent. So every avatar has to give their consent, and you can't just upload someone's video or someone's photo to make videos of that person. It can only be either with videos that are already, or avatars that are on the platform, or your own if you want to make you a new one. Yeah. Everything has to be with consent. And the second most important thing is that we also have control and moderation. So all the text that's been input into the platform is moderated. And that's really to prevent any misuse. And obviously, it's not allowed to make videos with hate speech or anything that we wouldn't really want. So that's really our approach. The other thing that we do is that we also collaborate with governments. So we're in a lot of conversations with the UK government about regulations of AI, and how we think that AI should really have more regulations to prevent people's image or to be used in a bad way. So we try incredibly hard to prevent bad actors from using the technology. Yeah.
Great to hear. Will you? Do you have to leave immediately, or will you hang out?
No, I'll be here until 4.
Perfect. So you can ask more questions to Lourdes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.